Preston of Resource Maven. We're here at the Metals Investor Forum in January, and I'm joined by Keough of GT Gold, which is a company that made two exciting discoveries in a single field season last year, in their first significant field season at their project. So that in itself is exceptional. It's not an overuse of that word in the exploration space to have that kind of success. So let's talk a little bit about what you found. There's two discoveries, so let's start with the vein target, which is Saddle South.
Saddle South it is, and we drilled the geochemistry, the soil, golden soil footprint that we knew was there, and we thought it was pretty hot looking stuff. We didn't even bother doing any geophysics, just drilled the geochemistry, and sure enough, we drilled into a high-grade vein system. The market certainly got excited. That was partly because it was a brand new discovery, no historical knowledge of this area or of this zone. Mm-hmm. And so we went to the moon on that.
You certainly did. So you managed to accomplish a lot in a short period of time in the drilling that you did. I mean, you started with a plan for this much drilling and ended up doing this much drilling.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what at Saddle South in this vein discovery, what you're seeing there. Like what have you delineated at this point?
At the minute, we have a high-grade epithermal vein system at Saddle South, covering quite a footprint, over 500 meters east-west, and it's continuing. The continuity is really good, and that's exciting because every hole we put in hits high grades, and often multiple grades, multiple intercepts per hole. And so we're consistently hitting the zone. We want to get back in there this coming season, infill the drilling, expand the drilling as well. But it is what it is, consistently high grade.
And let's give a little flavor for some of those grades.
Yeah.
People talk about high grade. For some that means 2-3 grams. What does that mean at Saddle South? At
Saddle South we get a lot of narrow intercepts of plus 10 gram material, sometimes into hundreds of grams, right, over narrow sub-meter intercepts. That's gold. There's also a lot of silver. But I might add that, in fact, if you look at the numbers in most of these holes, Gwen, there's multiple intercepts that have good widths to them. You'll get, in some of these holes, more than 10 meters cumulatively of plus 5, plus 10 gram material. In fact, that metric in the early going was very consistent, especially in the shallow RC drilling. And I emphasize this is shallow as a perception that it's deep. No, actually it starts right on surface, and we've drilled it deep. We followed it over 500 meters down.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I mean, for a new discovery that's showing good continuity and consistency of grade over reasonable intervals and a 500 meter strike, I mean, it's a pretty large step to take in a short period.
It is, and we plowed a lot. We set out there planning to only drill 2,800 meters of drilling. We ended up at almost 18,000 meters at the end of the season. So we had to expand everything massively, you know, mid-season, mid-August, geophysics, the whole shebang, and that turned up some new discoveries. We've talked about the high-grade vein, but we also turned up what appears to be the engine for the entire system, which is a potentially very large and rich porphyry deposit below the sediments, the glacial sediments in the valley bottom below the saddle target. So we've got the high-grade epithermal up here, and there in the valley bottom, potentially the mother that's driving the whole system. So we're going to drill that seriously next summer.
Right, and that model makes sense. That's how we understand epithermal, that epithermal porphyry relationship is certainly textbook. Mm-hmm. This porphyry is what you're calling Saddle North. It's only had a few holes into it, some on the edges and some closer to what might be the middle. Tell me a little bit about what those returned for you.
Yeah, the scale is significant. We're not into ore grade on our first two holes. That is what I should qualify that. Our first hole drilled near vertical, 24 meters of overburden, and then from there to 230 meters, it was consistently mineralized, every sample with copper, gold, and silver. Not ore grade yet, but strengthening consistently as you go. It's really consistent. And it bottoms in BC style ore grade. So if it's similar to Red Chris, the big mine nearby, which we might hope it will be, and we drill this deeper, we could be into a much richer porphyry than we currently have. Having said that, 1,000 meters away, much closer to surface in hole 64, we drilled over narrow intercepts in the same porphyry intrusive, multiple grams of gold, silver, and multiple percentages of copper in the same narrow intercept. And therefore, we've proven it's significant, it can be rich. We're going to hope to prove it's large and rich at depth.
Right. So I think we haven't actually talked about where this is. You mentioned Red Chris is nearby. So we're talking about the southern corner of what we call the Golden Triangle, Red Chris being a great analogy for you to work from for the porphyry.
Yes, it's actually the northeastern corner.
Sorry, yes.
It is. So, but the real estate is rich. It's a great place to be. Red Chris, as you may know, has a certain mine plan, but the ore body is much richer and larger.
The ore body is
it's huge.
10 times the size,
yes.
and
it
richer.
might run for 150 years. I would hope 150 million, but no. Anyway, it's large, and we have a similar signature in terms of the mineralogy, the intrusive character of the host rock, as the Red Chris, similar age of rock. So let's cross our fingers, but the results of the last year, the last summer's work, definitely warrant a really substantial program for the coming season, and I think we're really well positioned now. It's kind of the winter doldrums, the cycle's getting going again. We've been beaten up, of course, because of the end of seasonality. I would just advise people to get involved now because there's a lot to come from this year's program.
Right, big program coming up.
Yeah.
And given what you did last year, I'll be very keen to see what can come out next summer.
We'll try to do that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. This is Gwen Preston, and we've been at the Metals Investor Forum.